Venice for me embodies the best of human experience, the best in us all. It's a city of romance. It's a beautiful city. It's a city that's seen trade. It's transformed the whole of Europe. It's a city that continues to inspire, even though it was built, in the 12th and 13th centuries. And for me, that says everything that we should aspire to be. And so for me, Venice is something worth saving. In order to bring this dream alive of saving the city of Venice, we've designed some protocells.
The big problem for Venice is the high water for the economic activity and also for the building, for the sanity of the building. This is the first problem for the administration of Venice.
I see my job as being one to champion the new technology of the protocell and to actually make it real, make it happen and bring people on board, because I think it's really important that we develop a technology that is compatible with a sustainable environmental approach to building things. I really wanted to help, and so the ability for me to be able to bring a technology that combines all the interests and passions that I have into one application through a protocell, one that I can use to share with other people. To me, this makes me feel incredible. We're outside a typical Venetian home here, where you can see the extensive damage done to the brickwork by the elements. There's salt encrusted, the stucco's lifted, and the marble scratched like a lion's run its claws down it. What we hope would be that the protocells would form a protective layer, very much like the stucco that was originally put on the wall, that stops this damage happening. So we're hoping the protocells will create a shell, not just underneath the foundations of Venice, but also some part of the wall as well. Denmark's the home for the centre of expertise of this kind of technology I'm working with. Living technology is what they call it. People here have a great respect and love for nature. They're right at the cutting edge of sustainable technologies and environmental solutions. So it's a perfect place to be. Protocells consist of a body which is really made of just oil and water. Oil and water don't mix, and where they meet there's an incredible amount of energy which gives rise to these lifelike properties. So you'll see that these protocells can actually start to make skins of material. Protocells can actually start to act in populations, and we can orchestrate that with other kinds of chemistry. So I'm going to make some protocells. I'm just going to put a droplet of water with some alkali into a field of olive oil, and we'll get droplets that are just under 1 millimeter big. Okay, cool. It's starting to spread out.
It's breaking up.
Yeah. You see
great.
No, this is brilliant. That's the field completely dissipating. Wow. So there are loads of little protocells being born in there. I'd love to zoom in there, just get inside there and just see what's happening. Because they're incredibly dynamic. You can see them making product because the product is darker, must be. So you actually start seeing them build little shells.
Should I add some more? Really nice.
We'll just wait and see what's happening with the field of interaction. Yeah. Anything that required water, because the protocells need water to move around in, could be repaired, for example, using these little bricks laid down by protocells, if we talk to them properly, using chemistry. I'm filling this one up with red. And there's a chemical reaction taking place already.
Oh.
So you can think about this as being like a form of chemical computing. The chemistry senses changes in the environment and responds to it.
They could be, in a sense, programmed for a function that will work in a specific way to solve a specific problem, whether this be in the body, whether this be in the environment, whether this be some sort of autonomous chemical colony that could be out in outer space. Hold on a second. Here we go. Hopefully one of these will work. What's going? Are you shaking them or are they shaking you?
My sister Rachel, when I think back at our early years, she was always drawing.
I don't think you can describe a woman like Rachel. She's beyond words. She's inspirational.
She really is a very, very intellectually stimulating person because she has such a wide-ranging knowledge and is so staggeringly intelligent.
Rachel is tolerant, she's broad-minded, her own ideas are formulating at the time. She comes from an extensive family, so she's learned to work as a team member.
Rachel Armstrong is this really energetic person that has ideas that nobody has come up with.
She was always experimenting, making things up in the garden. She was extremely exciting to be around and to play with.
She's managed to break boundaries, to create new boundaries.
And I like her excitement about everything she does. So
Rachel is inspirational, I have to say, as far as always bringing in some kind of new idea and new perspective. We can engineer different types of ways that we can use protocells. One is, for example, creating some sort of infrastructure, physical infrastructure, where Venice is deteriorating to shore up the foundations. The good thing about a protocell is it's not alive. So in a sense, it could live among the toxins because you don't have to worry about poisoning it if it's not alive. And hopefully we can engineer this then to work in a toxic environment to break down pollutants and sequester them and to remove them from the environment.
I've been thinking about how we can actually use living properties to work with the force of nature, a bit like a judo throw. We actually use the power of nature to create a different outcome for when we encounter environmental changes. Oh, no, that looks better. That looks a lot better.
Mm-hmm. We did receive some money from the Initiative for Science, Society and Policy in Denmark. The basic research in this project with protocells was funded by the European Commission and is now being funded by the Danish Research Council.
And this is the purple one, whatever that one was. Oh, look, something's happening already. They seem to have little fingers that they, just touch each other with. Maybe it looks a little bit like kissing, or they may be whispering to each other. We don't really know what they're saying, but they seem to be able to communicate with each other.
I think the emotion in chemistry comes from the very basic question is how the nature and how life works. How does my own body work? And if you can simulate processes that resemble nature, it's just, yeah, it's fantastic. It's amazing.
When I see them moving around and interacting with each other, I just really want a happy ever after, both for me and the protocells.
In the future, what we want is to actually use this technology not just to show that it can work in a dish or it might work on the side of the canal, but actually to show that it can improve the conditions for Venice. It's actually making something that is useful for the deteriorating problems in Venice.
I became a medical doctor because actually people told me to. They told me to keep my options open, and because I was a good student, that's exactly what I did. Nobody in my family had been a doctor, and so I was very proud initially. I became a doctor. I started on that pathway. small garden outside the John Radcliffe Hospital, which is where I trained to be a doctor. But I realised that when I was practicing medicine that I was only helping one person at a time. I wanted to help everyone, and I wanted to use my imagination, my creativity, the creativity of science through nature to make a better world for everybody. The white buildings and the sterile white tiles reminds me of the way that I felt with the institution of science and how somehow or other it killed that creativity, killed that feeling. When I was at school, I was frustrated that we never really had a big picture. We were fed subjects as if they were divided up from a cake in little pieces. And so when I came across the work of Leonardo da Vinci, I was so excited. He was someone who had a really big vision. And I just loved the way that he told his story. He started off with an idea, a really big idea, like, what would it be like if we could fly? And then he'd do a drawing, and you could see this thinking process, that when he does his drawing, he thinks through what it is that it would be. And then he makes a model of it. And he makes so many models of this idea. He's obviously going about testing it and doing it in lots of different ways. And then there's another step that we never got at school, which was he started to make it a reality. I can imagine he would be someone who didn't believe in limits, somebody who was full of energy, someone who didn't get limited by what was true now or what we believe to be possible, right in this moment. But he thinks beyond that, and he must have so much fire and passion for his vision of the world and what he wants to give to us to transform it into this amazing, transcendent journey that allows us to go into knowledge fields that I guess only the genius mind really starts to open up for us.
The great thing about being able to hang out with Rachel is she has a similar view of the world in terms of we can sit there and both laugh at the world and the madness.
Oh, look. And there's a funny little man with blue legs. Yay! Oh, maybe that looked like a quantum event there, because we're actually stuck in a position that we can't describe or reach.
Quantum superposition state, yeah.
Can we tackle with atoms?
The thing is,
can we tackle with particles?
Well, essentially, when you think about it, they're made up of atoms, so effectively the atoms are
already playing football.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a funny way.
In a funny way, probably about as expertly as we are.
Yeah. Probably better than we are, actually. Whereas Rachel's perspective is very much more on the living side of things, so to speak. My interest is predominantly on the hot flames and the pointy side of things, i.e. the rockets. But what Rachel brings to the whole equation is absolutely mind-blowing, because she's producing a technology, or coming up with a technology here, that could allow us to build structures on other moons and planets of the solar system. And once you have that type of technology, you have to get it out there. We need to be testing this. So that's where we have this crossover with the technologies, because I'm working on things that will get us out there in terms of transportation, rockets and spacecraft. So what I'd like to do is send a spacecraft out with a payload carrying Rachel's technology to a moon of the solar system, say somewhere like Titan, or even to a planet like Mars, and actually to start building these structures on another surface in the solar system.
You need to have lots of grandchildren that will be there to experience.
Yeah, I need a world ship, yes. I have plans on that.
I personally think that another great power of science fiction is it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's prepared to not be true. It's prepared to fail. It's prepared to attempt the impossible and die trying if necessary, because without those kinds of bold explorations into what might be, we actually never reach our potential. The disappointment of medical education filled me with a sense of loneliness. I felt like I couldn't connect with anyone properly. I think it was because I couldn't really understand why I was so unhappy. I mean, I had the best education. I loved science. I was involved in a career that I should be really fulfilled in, but it didn't make sense. When I gave up my income as a medical doctor, I had to think really smart about how I made money. It was quite a shock. Essentially what I did was I used skills that I had, like drawing caricatures, to earn some money, and then I had to acquire other skills, like writing, in order to make my way. I ended up even writing a novel. Hi, good evening everyone. It's great to be here at the 10th Sci-Fi in London. We're stuck. We're stuck in an ecological crisis that we can't think our way out of. Because less of more of the same is not different. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're really not working in any different way to when we were working in the 1970s. And if we keep thinking in this way, then we're going to think ourselves into extinction. I love being on stage and I love talking to people, and as many people as possible about the work that I'm really excited about and this new technology, this protocell. And I just love communicating with people. So thank you very much.
The only tension I can think of when we were younger would be about clothes, where I would probably borrow her clothes, but then as I got older, she would start to sort of borrow mine, and that used to annoy me. But I think all sisters have problems with borrowing each other's clothes, hey-ho.
I love spending time with my sister and her young family. I mean, Con is just a fantastic little boy. And it's lovely playing with him. It makes me feel about 100 years younger. And but you know, this is not my choice. I haven't made a decision to settle down and have a family. For me, the protocell is my mission. You know, I'm really dedicated to making this work. I'm both excited and nervous about this project that I'm about to embark on in Venice. I'm trying to test whether these ideas that I've been nurturing over the last couple of years are actually realisable in practice. So I'd like Martin, obviously, to be there. And I'm hoping to get some of the architectural students to come with me. Feel the tube as you shake it and dissolve it.
Is it dissolving? Yeah. We're going to conduct an experiment. This is a similar experiment that we've conducted in the laboratory in Denmark under controlled conditions. Now we're going to try more realistic conditions because we want to apply this technology to the problems in the lagoon. So we've made these plates here of lagoon water, and we have our chemical experiment. So everyone add a little bit of the oil droplets to your water samples here, and then we'll wait to see what happens.
You can write your name.
Good.
I was trained as a medical doctor, but I wasn't a scientist. It's a different kind of training. And I needed someone who'd be able to help me develop the ideas that I had about the creativity of science in an open and supportive way. Martin's an incredibly nice guy, but he also became my mentor. I met Martin at a conference called Artificial Life 11. It was at Winchester in 2008, August. And Martin presented the protocell, and I was just absolutely bewitched by the technology and the clarity of the presentation. This is something I really, really wanted to work with. I had to come and meet you, particularly when you said you had a PhD.
After hearing about Rachel's enthusiastic response to the protocell project, I asked her if she'd consider being a student of mine.
That was awesome. I absolutely had to pursue this. I really, really wanted to work with the protocell. I wanted to work with you because you really explain things really clearly.
Really? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks. No one's using protocells in these areas, and so it's really up to Rachel's brainstorming creativity and energy to bring to fruition some new ideas of how to use the protocell. So, do you think the experiment's working?
Wow.
So let's see.
Wow, that is fast.
Do you see something?
Wow, yeah, I do. This one actually looks really bright, doesn't it? Yeah. It's gone from clear to very, very milky white, really bright. And if you see when they get moved around, they continue to work. So even when they break up, even if the waves come and break them up, they'll still form themselves again. And that's very different to the way that a machine-like technology would work.
Yeah, that's right. So this is using some of the advantages of simple chemistry. You make a droplet, the droplet likes to form, self-assemble, and it has a very robust structure.
Rachel, can you hurry up and change the planet? Because I really need you to help me change in the rest of the solar system.
With your platform heels that you're going to provide, Venice will have 2 or 3 or even 400 years ahead of it without a major catastrophe. Good luck.
I wish you every luck with that.
I think it's very important to have a solution, to have a normal life in Venice. And also for have a possibility to have a future for this town.
Rachel, I really wish you the best of luck with your research, and I hope that you are able to save Venice. It would be brilliant if you could, and if anyone can, you can. Really good luck with it.
We're going to film it in the lagoon itself. We're going to add the droplets to this area here where we can easily see what's going on, and I'll record it here with this underwater camera. Huh?
Okay, fantastic.
So where do you want to go?
Well, I'd like to go with where the mussels are, where there's a dark background, so we can clearly see where the protopells are forming.
And turning white.
Yeah, turning white. So we'll know if it's successful if they turn white.
All right.
Okay, we're ready?
Ready.
Got it.
Great. Okay, now we're recording. Whether see if anything is happening.
Yeah, that's a challenging environment there.
It's really challenging.
Really see if they work. Oh look, I see them. I see them.
It's a real life environment.
It certainly is. Nothing like you get in the laboratory.
Yeah, not usually.
This was just really amazing to see the protocells being released into the lagoon. It's a very challenging environment, and it was great to have the support of the students and for people to take part in this exciting moment. It's the first time we've really taken them out of the lab, so I'm really thrilled.
Well, so far it's been a success. There are many different uncontrolled variables in this experiment, but we went for it anyway to see if this technology is simple enough that it just works. And so far, this is what we see. So we're very excited. We released them into a natural environment.
Yeah, we did.
And so far, it looks good.
And that's really cool because, like in the laboratory, not everything works first time.
No, but sometimes you get lucky.
Venice is unique. The protocell will be the future of the production for biomass, for the humanity, not only for Venice.
Every day I have a joie de vivre, like I've just been born, that I'm going to make the most of it and I'm going to have some kind of fantastic experience during that day that's just going to make me a better person by the time I reach the next day. It might sound naive, but actually that's what motivates me every day. I think every day is marvellous. Okay, here we go. And ready.
Great. That was a perfect experiment. Come on, do something. It's not doing anything. Ah, nope, it's unhappy, isn't it?